The final thing is so important, and I think it's something that truly changed my life for the better. Shopping solves all your problems, and social status is gained by what you wear and what you have. Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of How to Change Your Lives. I'm Wengie, your big sister on the internet by day and music artist by night. And of course, on this channel, we give each other hugs. I'd also like to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this video because therapy is so important to changing your life. And I'll share more about BetterHelp later on. And if you guys missed part 1, I'll link it down below. But anyways guys, let's go. This one is a serious topic that us women all have to talk about. And if you're men in the audience, you gotta know this too, but I feel like you guys are better at this than we are. Learn about money. The education system does not teach you actual practical things that will make differences to your lives. How taxes work, how to save or manage or invest my money. I guess growing up in an immigrant household with my parents, they had a mindset. It was just save all your money and then buy a house and have a stable job. But that's not the only way. There's investing, there's stocks or shares, so many things you can do. Understanding how tax works is really important because if you're like a business owner like me, saving taxes, knowing how that works will save you so much money. Being able to spend money in a certain way, because spending money isn't always bad. And I think that's the thing that I had to wrap my head around. I was so into this like save it all, don't take risks, because if you invest you'll lose your money. I never actually invested a lot of the money that I made, and I lost out on so much extra money I could have had towards financial freedom. So not every money strategy is suitable for everyone, but I will say saving your money is really important and not overspending. But the thing is, what you do with the savings is actually where that whole education is. I will also caveat with, there's lots of things that get hyped online. You can get caught on these, and I've lost a lot of money getting caught up in these trends. So not all trends are created equal. I would start with a money strategy that has been tried and tested for a long time that is fairly safe, and then build up from there. But definitely living below your means is number 1. Don't get into debt. And if you are in debt, pay that off first. That's your big sis advice on finance. And kind of along these lines of education, self-help books. And I went to a lot of those like seminars and conventions. The Anthony Robbins program, Mastering Money Mindset, it actually did change my life for the better. Not because like I blindly did everything I learned in those programs, but it really opened my understanding of things that I never thought about. Because I never sat down and thought about, how do I get triggered emotionally? Is there stories about myself that I just believe but never questioned? Even the story that I went to a singing competition, performed so badly because I had no idea what I was doing. My best friend told me to stick to dancing and stop singing. The story I had in my head was I couldn't sing. But that wasn't true, because I learned later that you could go to vocal lessons and get better. And my voice now versus my voice back then when I used to do covers on YouTube, it's night and day. And if I had believed that story that I couldn't sing, I would not be here today releasing songs. But through like learning about myself, self-reflection, it slowly broke down all those barriers. I highly recommend you read Anthony Robbins' books. He has like a whole series of different books. Yeah, the other thing is like the money mindset. A lot of people taught money is the root of all evil, more money, more problems. If you truly believe that story, you're not able to attract money into your life. You will sabotage yourself to keep yourself at a certain level. It's not just about money, but about all other areas of your life. If you want book recommendations, I'm gonna go down in the description and list some of my favorites so you guys can check it out. It only takes you like a week to read. If you want to do it like a bit every day, it will literally change your life. And speaking of like all these beliefs and things and stories you have in your head, I had the story that I was a girl boss, strong and resilient after all the success I went through. But as you know, in the past 2 years, I ended engagements, I moved countries, and I experienced extreme burnout from doing YouTube, social media, running my own business. And I literally became like a different person. I think I need therapy, but I kind of wasn't in a mood to go see a random stranger or to even leave the house. So that's where today's sponsor, BetterHelp, comes in. BetterHelp not only gives you access to affordable therapy, it is extremely accessible as well. You can take your first step into therapy from like your own home, which is comfortable, and you can do it in phone call, like audio only, text messaging, or even a video call. I picked like the audio call and also like texting because sometimes I need time to gather my thoughts and text, and I'm also like kind of non-confrontational, pretty shy, so I don't want that video call on me. And the other fear I had of therapy prior to using BetterHelp is that I wouldn't completely vibe with the therapist I found, and then I had to find some way to say I'm not coming back. BetterHelp actually allows you to switch therapists super easy with a click of a button, which made me feel so much better. It also gives you access to more options than just your local therapist, because I did go through the list of my local therapists and I'm like, what if I don't vibe with any of them? BetterHelp has a huge network, so you can keep just dating your therapist until you find one you like, because I think it's really important to have that connection with your therapist. The other thing I love is with the subscription with BetterHelp, you can text your therapist during the week. You're not feeling alone even in between therapy sessions. You can request like exercises, like journaling or other things during the week from your therapist, so that you can like continually work on your mental health before your next session. And that's gonna give you even more like crazy changes. If you guys wanna give therapy a try, I have a link that will give you 10% off your first month. Just go to betterhelp.com/Wengie to take advantage of the offer. Thank you BetterHelp for sponsoring the series, and therapy really helped me, and being someone that has had trouble making friends, being able to talk to a therapist just makes my week go a lot easier. Ooh, another thing that really changed my life is moving countries. Getting to know a whole bunch of people that are different to you, you become less closed-minded, gain so much empathy from that. Like the other thing I would say about moving countries is like getting yourself out of your comfort zone. I was so used to in Sydney being surrounded by my friends and family, kind of all do the same things, and you kind of all think the same things. In my little bubble in Sydney, everyone's whole thing was like, okay, let's go get into a long-term relationship, let's all just buy a house, let's all just find like a nice paying job, go eat at nice restaurants on the weekends. And I didn't really have a chance to experience anything else because that's just what everyone was doing there. So when I moved, I started seeing like all these different lifestyles, people living differently, people doing different things, people thinking differently. Now I know when someone says something that I don't get, I don't think like, oh, they're stupid or like they don't understand. But I kind of start thinking, okay, why do they think like that? Is it because they grew up a certain way? Are they in like a sort of culture that makes them think like that and it's not really their fault and they haven't really just like thought otherwise? So I'm a lot more understanding of people, and I think that shows, and that has made me see a lot more in the world. Oh, I love this one. Getting a pet. I have before pet life and after pet life. Getting a pet just completely changes you. It's different to having a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's different to having friends. It's different to having like family. It's like this helpless little cutest furry little thing that just depends on you, and it's just so nice not think about yourself for a second and to look after something. The word of advice is choose a pet that you can maintain, because some pets are higher maintenance than others. For example, dogs are super high maintenance, and that's not me. I'm more of a cat person because they're lower maintenance, both emotionally and physically. So depending on what you can handle in your life, a suitable pet for the maintenance that you can give is perfect. You can also think of fostering pets. Fostering is like looking after a pet for a couple months before, you know, it gets adopted out by someone else. That's a lovely experience too if you just don't want to commit like a lifetime to a pet. And my first pet was Mickey. He was my first cat ever, and he was my baby, and since then I was hooked. And if you guys went through the death of my cat, that's the downside of having a pet, RIP Mia. So yeah, there's that side. I'm just gonna set that as a caveat. But the positives outweigh the negatives so much. The final thing is so important. It is forming a better relationship with material things. So growing up, I realized I had a very mass media kind of a brainwashed way of thinking about material things. Shopping solves all your problems, and social status is gained by what you wear and what you have. And that is so harmful. Prior to doing YouTube, I didn't have the means to go shopping like like that? Well, I tried anyways. I put it on my credit card. So I was spending above my means just to obtain this illusion of success or glamour that I had in my head that I needed to feel good about myself. I soon realized that that's not the answer once I could afford everything. I think when I couldn't afford anything, I was just so obsessed to getting into the position where I could buy more things that I never really sat down and thought about it like, hey, is this healthy and is this making me happy? And this also led me to a problem with having too much stuff and being on a show where I had to declutter my whole house. I can do this story another time. This is like a whole story time for another time. And this also stems from the fact that I grew up in a family that couldn't afford a lot of things. So I always felt like this sense of lack, and then I couldn't be good enough because I didn't have the material things. When I did grow up and made my own money, I just spent and spent and collected to a point where it just wasn't healthy. I had 30 bottles of skincare. Did I really need that?
No.
I had like 40 different eyeshadow palettes. Do I really need that?
No.
3 closets full of clothes. Did I need that?
No.
Is when you're like donating clothes or all these things and you realize like you barely use what you bought, and then you add up the amount of money you spent on the things that you bought, and then you're like, oh, I could have gone on like a really good trip with this money, and now I'm just throwing out with tags attached. It's really depressing. And over time, you realize like you have to fix your relationship with material things and ask yourself, am I trying to make up for something here? So yeah, I think most women grow up with very unhealthy messages. Have a look. It might change your life and you might save a lot of money, and maybe you'll go traveling around the world instead of collecting 3 closets full of clothes. I feel like that's a much better experience. Or maybe buy a house, a car, something useful. I hope these last 5 life-changing things really helps motivate you to start changing your life if you feel like you're stuck in a rut. And if you're on your journey, you go girl, I'm here to support you. I also like to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this video to help us improve our lives through therapy. Don't forget to use my link betterhelp.com/Wengie to get 10% off your first month of therapy. And guys, thanks for joining me. I've always loved spending time with you. Don't forget to check out my music, stream me on Spotify and my music channel for music videos. And I'll see you guys next week for a new video. Bye guys, love you. Mwah.